We're doing Y and sumo right now. Or Y sumo. Y and sumo.
Huh?
No, scratch that. Or keep it in, whatever. But today we're with someone who doesn't need an introduction, but we are gonna have them introduce themselves. Introduce yourself to the folks and let them know how you got into sumo. Not the hat flip.
My name is JJ. I'm the co-founder of the what the heck is our club name? Honu Sumo Club. And I am the executive director of the Maximum Effort Foundation, where we focus on chidlins starting to train in the sumos.
Chitlins. We'll come back to that later. What got you into sumo wrestling?
All right, so that's always been the one that's a little wild for me, right? So there's many different ways that kind of got me into sumo. One was I started when I was a kid. I would watch Grand Sumo on ESPN, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool," right? And I didn't know anything about anything, so I'm just like watching it and trying to figure it out. And then you don't think at that point that, oh, that's something I could do. That's just what like giant Japanese people do. Even though it was kanishiki and akebono, it doesn't matter. In my head, it was a thing only Japanese people could do. And I was impressed by the physicality. And then you fast forward a little bit, I'm in college and I get a flyer for this tournament in Claremont, California. And I reached out to the director of it via email. He didn't, like, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be in the sumo blow-up suit. That was really big for me because honestly, I think that the sumo blow-up suit is like blackface for sumo. It's really offensive, at least my the way I look at it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay away from that. And then I'm like moving around a little bit. I hear a podcast talking about amateur sumo, and it was called 330 Dudes. So it's two dudes that were over the age of 30, somewhere in there. And it was a cool little podcast. It doesn't exist anymore. They try to bring it back, but it was like, it's kind of like what me and Min can do. Just two like dudes in their 30s talking about miscellaneous stuff. They put a lot more study and a lot more practice into it. They would pick different subjects, and one time they picked amateur sumo, and they talked about weight classes and everything, just really an info dump. Then from there, I was like, that's what I want to do. I go on the internet, I'm able to find that there's a club in LA, and I go train with Sumoyama, Takeshi, and Bayamba, and it was quite amazing, and I think that between the first couple weeks that I went, my life was changed.
Thank you for that. Can you talk a little bit more about that life change? Like, how were you different from the first practice going in to when you came out after that first practice?
I think the big thing was I went in, and I think everybody that does sumo goes in with this like big mind where it's like, oh, this is fairly easy. I can do this, right? Maybe if you come from football, you're like, oh, I've pushed sleds, it's all good. For me, I was thinking, oh, like, yeah, they're gonna hit me, but I know judo, and they're giving me more than 80%, so I don't need to give 20%. I just give 1%, and then I could just throw everybody that hits me with their tachi eye, right? And it's all fun and game until you get crashed into, and your world changes a little bit, right? Bayamba was really big on telling me that judo good, judo for sumo bad. That was his thing, right? So every time I would try, he'd be like, no judo, no judo, no judo. I'm like, all right, well, that's all I got. This is all I got. There's a guy in his 40s that was a rugby dude, and he was all tachi-ai, no throws. So his particular style would just demolish mine. We were both lightweights at the time, and I was like, well, if I can't do judo, how am I supposed to beat him? And then you run into a man named Danny Avila. And Danny Avila, he hit me so hard. I think I won one match. If I remember correctly, I won one match. He definitely gave it to me, because that was Super Danny. Super Danny was a monster among like men, and I got him once. And even though he let me, I'm pretty sure he let me. He then just crashed into me like I was a 400-pound man, and I wasn't. And then I couldn't walk, and then I parked the car in the middle of the street after driving all the way from LA to San Diego. And I'm like, Christina, can you come and park the car for me?
I remember that day, and I parked the car. I parked it good too.
My life was changed. I slept for 3 days, my baby. 3 days.
Wow. So you lift up, the folks that you were practicing with in LA, RIP Biamba, always love you forever and appreciate you. Can you talk a little bit about how those friendships and connections from your first days of sumo, how that has impacted your sumo today and your relationships within the sumo community with some of those folks?
I think everybody comes in a little pig-headed, right? And I think the fact that they fixed my mentality right off the bat, like they checked me, right? You got to check people, especially when you have martial arts experience or anything else. Like you come in, you're gonna have your own perception of the world, and they came in and they're like, no, and whatever you do is invalid, which which is the opposite of how I kind of teach, because I think that works really, really, really good for someone that wants to learn, right? If they want to learn, you can have that approach. And I was hungry, and I wanted to buy a mawashi the first day. The person that was selling mawashis did not sell me a mawashi. He made me use a used one, which to this day really irritates me, because I want to be able to wear my mawashi from the beginning to the end kind of deal. But that's neither here nor there. But then, like, something about being able to do a sport or something like that, that's 100%. Anything that you can do that you get to put in literally 100%. If you go 100% in boxing, you'll kill someone. If you do 100% in kickboxing, you'll kick their head into Jamaica, right? Like, that's not what we do. But in grappling, you can go 100%. Now, with that sumo, there's more of a little bit of a physicality to it, right? And your little mistakes are huge mistakes in the grand scheme of things, which I think just shows how beautiful of an art it is. And from those little mistakes, you make very dear friends, right? From the people that beat you, from the people you beat, from the people you'll never beat, from the people that irritate you. There's always something that still binds you to them.
Thank you for that. Can you talk a little bit about what was going through your head and when you knew it was time for you to start a sumo club in San Diego?
Oh, this is great. This is great. The reason why I knew is because I sucked. Right? Like, I'm not one of those people that enjoy sucking at anything ever. Like, I at least want to get fairly mediocre to high mediocre, right? Somewhere in that level makes me pretty happy, right? And when I say happy, just happy enough to know that I can keep pushing past that. So, like, I went out there and I lost to everyone, and most of those people, like, I shouldn't have lost to. That's just the way it was. It was a timing thing. I came back from a knee surgery, and I forgot that when you're doing sumo, you can go at the ha. And I've never been a fast person, so I waited for the full word, ha-ki-oi, and then I went, right? And that was a big mistake, a huge mistake. And I think out of all those matches that I lost, the two that I was like, I definitely could have done better, or that I couldn't have won just because of like pure technique and stuff. One was against the Mongolian. I can't remember his name. I want to say it was nope, don't have it. I can't remember his name. But he beat me cold. He snapped me down. I felt like my head bounced off. And then there was this other guy named Minkin. Minkin Reagan, I think it was. And he kicked me so hard. I didn't know you could do that. And I just know at that particular time, there was nothing I could have done to beat him. He was better than me in every way possible, and I was uncomfortable with someone being better than me at every shape and form. So what I decided to do is, like, let's go ahead and start working. And we didn't make a club right off the bat. We just were two, like, a married couple and another guy that beat the crap out of me in San Diego, just working, right? And it was during COVID too, and we were in a little bubble, and it was like, God, I think we were training like a couple times a week, 3 days a week, something like that. It was good. It was good, solid training, good shikos, good siriashi. It was on tatami, so our feet got jacked up from it. It was fun, though. It was fun. And then from there, like, you go out and you win a tournament, and you're like, okay, all right, there's something here. And then we didn't officially start the club until 2021 Nationals. And it was when we went as a club. That was our club. And during that time, like, we all went out and we put in literally maximum effort. Like, we tried our best. That was like one of the best moments of my life, because it was like we fused all of our ideas and made this child that keeps giving to the world. And I don't think that people think of their clubs as that. I think some people think of it as a cult. Some people think of it as a revenue source. But it is literally a living being, especially in America. If you make a LLC, it is a person, apparently. Has more rights than a person sometimes. So in America, it is a person. And that person continues to give to the world, especially our mission of children.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. What you definitely brought back for me was the pool noodle. The pool noodle connected by rope that we used to use as a tawada and a doyo. So happy that the baby is growing up, and I would have to do that no more. Wanting to, everybody in this segment, we ask folks, and it's super controversial, right? Want to know who's your favorite professional sumo wrestler currently?
Currently, my favorite professional sumo wrestler was my favorite amateur sumo wrestler, Ono Sato. He, first of all, knows my name, which I think is wild that a professional athlete at the top of his game knows my name. I feel like that's cool. Also, it's like, I love his approach. I love his style. He's very happy. May or may not have a little controversy online, but it's just what it is, right? Like, boys are going to be boys a little bit, especially when they're clumped up in a space. But he looks like he's gotten over that, and he's moving in all the right direction. And I really enjoy just his approach and his physicality, which is something I will never be able to like show that level of physicality. And I think it's something important to like a professional, like an athlete that can't do what you do, because then you're always comparing yourself to them.
Okay, appreciate you. Now, who is your favorite amateur sumo wrestler?
My favorite amateur sumo wrestler, and I just want everyone to know, I love my wife, I appreciate Mencken, but Kellyanne is the best. Kellyanne Ball, you are the best. I saw you go from, the beginnings, where I could say, Christina, Ashitori. Or no, I would go, Ura, 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 Ura. And then she'd go, Ura, and grab your leg. And then you get mad and you didn't like me. And you went from that to like multiple time medalist, which I find amazing. The amount of hard work that you've put in such a short amount of time, and then what you do on the outside too. You not only fix amateur sumo in the dojo, but you fix it outside of the dojo. And you are a blessing to any area that you decide to bless.
Heck yeah. Do a one-off to talk to people. Sorry, I got distracted by a dog in a car. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm over it now. But I'm going to give the mic to you, and you're going to, share the good word with folks on why they should get into sumo.
All right, guys. Why you should do sumo. Real talk, girl talk. If you're a grappler and you need to build a little aggression, sumo's the way. If you are doing anything, I think that everything that you do is valid. If you're a boxer, jiu-jitsu, judo, everything that you do, you can bring into sumo. And the mawashi's not that scary, especially when you can wear spats underneath. All right? There's no excuse. It definitely covers up more than a singlet. And some of y'all out there with that singlet moose knuckle stuff, just get over your fear and person up and level up. Thank you.
Kisses? That's good TV.